This year has already been absolutely jam-packed with incredible gaming titles, and that trend isn't stopping anytime soon, especially with the releases of both Sonic Superstars and Super Mario Wonder in late October. I think we can all agree that both Mario and Sonic fanbases are absolutely stoked for both games, and for good reason. Both games take an entirely new route in their respective franchises, completely ditching the formula of previous games and creating something completely new. These incredible looking titles released 3 days apart from each other, Superstars on October 17th and Wonder on October 20th, the same day as Spider-Man 2, so while it's everywhere, we'll be in tears. The excitement I have for these games is through the roof. I never thought I would be so invested in the releases of 2D games, especially Sonic or Mario, since most of their 2D games aren't that great or special. Except Mania, because that's one of the best 2D platformers to date. I will fight you on that. But the way both of these games are shaping up, I'm just bursting with anticipation, and October couldn't come any sooner. Sonic's last 2D adventure was 6 years ago with the release of Mania, and that game had me in awe ever since release. I loved every second of my time with that masterpiece. But with Mario, I haven't played one of his 2D games since New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii, which means it's been quite a minute since I've actually played a 2D Mario game. Like I said, I usually wouldn't be so excited for these types of games, but you have to understand what these games are doing for their respective franchises. They're so much bigger than just new games. They're the first steps, the first attempts at entering the new era of 2D games for the franchises. For Sonic Superstars, the game isn't like any other 2D game we've seen from the franchise. The visual art style of the 3D models and backgrounds is absolutely breathtaking, unlike the Sonic 4 visuals that look absolutely dog-awful. The Chaos Emeralds in the game all have different power-ups associated with them, which is a concept and game mechanic that has never yet been explored in a Sonic game. And the actual gameplay looks phenomenal and very accurate to the way characters would control in Mania. We're getting all new zones, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, along with probably 1 or 2 extra characters are playable, including 4-player co-op, which sounds kind of ridiculous when you think about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, 4-player co-op is great and all, but for a Sonic game where the whole premise is going fast, it feels like it would be an extremely difficult challenge to keep every player on the screen. But hopefully this isn't an issue come launch day. Unfortunately though, there is no online co-op, which means the only way to play through the main game with your friends is if y'all are on the same system. Which, why Sega? Why? Do you really think I have friends in real life that actually like Sonic? I mean, come on now, know your audience, man. But the alternative to online play is battle mode, and it actually looks quite interesting. We don't have a ton of information yet, but the brief glimpses we've seen, it seems like there's going to be some customization options, and the actual battle mode gameplay looks quite interesting, and in general, it seems like a cool game mode. I'm not going to lie to you though, this mode looks like something I would play maybe a couple times here and there, you know, but ultimately forget about within a month and never revisit again. Which I mean isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm not expecting a single mode to keep me hooked onto a game forever. But just give us online co-op, man. It's not impossible. We've seen it done with the 3D World port, so why can't our modern 2D games have online co-op, man? Just give it to me. In general, Superstars looks like the modern 2D game that we've all been waiting for. Sonic 4 was a terrible first step in redefining the 2D games, for reasons I won't be going into. But Sega seems to have learned from their past mistakes and created a title that maintains all the essential game elements that we loved from the classic 2D games, then introduce new mechanics and gameplay features that'll let the game better appeal to older and newer fans. Mario Wonder serves a very similar purpose for its respective franchise. For far too long, we've had the same game repackaged not once, not twice, not a third nor fourth time, but 5 times have Nintendo resold what is essentially the same game to us, which honestly makes me wonder how the hell they got away with it for so long. But they finally got their heads out of their asses and cooked up something that looks entirely new and fresh on the 2D Mario franchise. First off, just look at the art style, man. This game looks so cartoony and comic book-like, almost like how the Spider-Verse movies are done. Now, obviously, it's not as comic book inspired as Spider-Verse, but you get what I mean. The visuals are stunning, animations are so incredibly smooth, and the characters are so expressive when in action. The issue with past 2D Mario games were that they all felt uninspired. Every game featured the same world themes with the same gameplay loop and formula, never really spicing things up, leading to fans complaining about the repetitiveness of the games. Sure, each game would have a new power-up or some sort of new gimmick to incentivize people to buy the next installment of the series, but these gimmicks were very short-lived, something that is cool, but by itself doesn't warrant an entire new game. So yeah, I can't blame the fans. If I had to keep paying and playing all these 2D Mario games that were essentially straight up copy and paste of previous games for the better part of 17 years, I think a part of me would be pretty heated too. Mario Wonder, though, completely ditches that pattern and strives to be something entirely unique. We see that in its art style, animations, and especially game design. Like I said earlier, the problem with previous 2D Mario games were that they all felt the same, but with each genre having some sort of fun gimmick. Which, let's be honest with ourselves, most of these gimmicks were pretty fucking boring. The giant mushroom, the gold fire flower, the propeller, the acorn, by themselves aren't terrible ideas, but to push out a whole new game, and I'm using new game very lightly here, seems unnecessary and makes it so that you're pretty much paying full price for a glorified DLC. Mario Wonder does feel like an entirely new game though. New visuals, mechanics, multiple new power-ups, new enemies, new world themes, unique ways to navigate the worlds, a huge character roster. I mean, there's so much new coming from this game. From the gameplay I've seen from the Direct and from the demos at PAX, the game looks even better than I expected. Bowser, who is the villain, I know, like, huge shocker, actually looks pretty badass, at least from his intro. He grabs the Wonder Flower and quite literally turns into a castle, like he is Bowser's castle. That on top of the aggressive rock music and dark green atmosphere is so cool. I'm glad that since Bowser's Fury, Nintendo has made Bowser into a more aggressive and intimidating foe, instead of him being a fucking cat. Like, who looks at this and genuinely feels even an ounce of fear or intimidation? And guess what? Mario Wonder has local co-op, right? Local. But it doesn't have online co-op. Are you fucking kidding me? Well, there is technically online co-op, but not the way you would think it has online co-op. The way Nintendo approached the online play is actually very confusing to me. They even explained it in full detail in the Direct, and I'm still a bit lost on how it all works. What I got from the Direct is that you could technically play through the game with your friends online, but your friends act like ghosts, people that you can't directly interact with in-game. So that means you can't jump on each other for boosts, you can't cuck each other until all your lives run out. It's definitely a way to play with your friends that I've never seen before. In theory, this actually sounds like a better way to play the game since you don't have to worry about bumping into the people you're playing with, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be as fun. Is it really gonna feel like I'm playing with my friends, or is it just gonna feel like I'm playing the game with my friends just being in the background? It's a very real concept that I don't think I could love or hate until I've actually tried it out for myself. I do think it can be fun if you're really putting in effort and time to play with your friends, as in going through every part of the level with each other, but I could definitely see myself loading up a level and just leaving my friend behind while they struggle on a certain section, and vice versa. Man, what the hell is this? This is just wrong. That's not all for online play though, as it looks like there are some other ways to interact with others online via standees. To my understanding, the standees act like mini checkpoints. Little statues that, when interacted with, sets your respawn point, acts like another player if you die and need to be revived, and it has some other functionalities as well, like whatever these hearts do. I think the heart counter represents how many players have interacted with the standee, which is pretty cool, I won't lie. But how will these standees exactly work? If I place a standee in a level, will that standee be visible to every other player playing the game, or will it only be visible to my friends? Is there a limit to how many standees can be placed at one time, or can I just have unlimited standees anywhere I desire? It's a cool mechanic, but I have a lot of questions as to how the hell it's really gonna work in-game. Another question I have, or maybe I should just call this a complaint, is why are the Yoshis on baby mode? For those who don't know, there are 4 Yoshi characters to choose from. Yoshi, Red Yoshi, Yellow Yoshi, and Blue Yoshi. Cool, right? But if you look at this tiny note over here, it quotes, Yoshis and Nabbit won't take damage, but they also won't transform with power-ups.
What?
No, alright. I know that sounds bad.
Why, Nintendo, why? Why are you doing this? Why are we doing this? Look, I get if Nabbit is a baby mode character. He's been baby mode since his introduction. It just makes sense. But Yoshi? Why Yoshi, man? So many people love and want to play Yoshi without playing on Little Timmy mode. What I think Nintendo should just do is make it a setting if you want to play baby mode or not. So you could choose any character and they all will play the same. But if you need an easier way to play the game, you should be able to toggle in easy mode in settings. That way, anyone can play as any of the characters without missing out on the challenge of the game. but anyone who does need an easier mode can still play as, Mario or Peach and still use the new power-ups in the game. It's a win-win for both parties, and I don't think that would be a very hard thing to do, so I don't understand why it isn't an option. Instead, we're locking specific characters to baby mode, and it personally just makes no sense to me. Speaking of power-ups though, the new power-ups we have in the game are Bubble, Drill, and an elephant. Why did it have to be an elephant, man? Does Nintendo want the fan art to be cursed? I mean, look at Toad, look at Peach. This is not okay. The bubble form looks like an interesting power-up and seems like it's gonna be a crazy way to speedrun the game. The drill seems like a crazy way to navigate a course and find hidden paths for some hidden goods too. But every time I say, hear, or even see the word drill, I instantly think of the drill power-up for Sonic Colors, and my brain plays the stupid fucking drill sound effect with the bass boosting music. So that has just ruined the power-up for me right then and there. And the elephant power-up, well, that was ruined for me when they showed this. Please shut up. Last but definitely not least is the badges, which is the most interesting and exciting mechanic for me. The badges give the player bonus power-ups and upgrades such as higher jumps, wall climbing, increased swimming mobility, etc. And I'm super stoked for this, as this alone is giving the game so much more depth and so much more replayability too, as it's going to change the way most people approach each level and obstacle in the game. I just hope there are more badges that give more depth to the gameplay than badges that just make the game easier, like a badge that saves you from lava or a badge that can take a hit for you before you take damage. I want badges that change the way I play, like this badge that pretty much makes you Spider-Man, or the badge that keeps me sprinting the whole time so I can have my Sonic moments in my Mario game. Badges like that, badges that make the game more fun, not easier. One thing I do want to comment on about the Wonder Flower though is how it seems like a scripted event. Judging from these trailers, the Wonder Flowers don't look like something that's hard to find. It seems like they're just floating in the middle of the stage and then the player is supposed to touch the flower so that something wacky happens. I don't want the Wonder Flowers to act like scripted events, like an item that's supposed to be found every level. I want to actually do some exploring in the level to find the Wonder Flowers, so that my reward for finding the Wonder Flower is the level getting all wacky and insane. If the Wonder Flowers are going to be so easy to come across, they're not going to be as special as they could be. If you make them hard to find and locate, it becomes much more special and rewarding when you do find the flower and experience whatever shenanigans the game is putting you through. Regardless, so excited for both of these phenomenal looking games. Some may have noticed that I talked a lot more about Mario Wonder in this video than Sonic Superstars, and I hope that doesn't come across as me being less hyped for Superstars than Wonder. But because of the 15-minute in-depth direct that we got not too long ago, naturally I had a lot more to say about Wonder in this video. Superstars is still a game that I'm so excited for and will no doubt have a blast playing. I love seeing both of my favorite video game characters striving and reaching new heights. Both of these games look amazing in their own ways. Sonic with its emphasis on the powers of the Chaos Emerald and all new stages, and Mario with its unique art style, crazy looking mechanics, and overall deviation from the previous 2D Mario games. October couldn't come any sooner, and I can't wait for both of these games to absolutely blow our minds. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like, and if you're enjoying the content, please subscribe. It would mean the world to me, and I'll genuinely appreciate it tons. See y'all in the next one. Peace.